Imagine strolling through London's most exclusive streets, Mayfair, Belgravia, Chelsea, Marylebone. Behind the polished facades and manicured squares, you might think you're walking through a public city, but you're not. Beneath your feet lies a hidden map of ownership, territory controlled by dynasties whose wealth stretches back centuries. These aren't flashy billionaires or modern moguls. These are families who quietly shaped London itself, its land, its skyline, even its soul. Their power was built not on stock prices or tech IPOs, but on land, titles, and centuries of carefully guarded influence. Today, we pull back the curtain on 10 of the most elusive old money families, dynasties that still own the ground beneath London's most iconic streets. This isn't just history, this is the hidden blueprint of power. We begin our journey at number 10, with a family that perfectly illustrates how the very definition of a London property dynasty is evolving in the modern age. We are talking about the Livingstone brothers, Ian and Richard. Now, it's important to understand from the outset that these two individuals do not possess a centuries-old title passed down through generations. You will not find their name in the ancient annals of the British aristocracy. Yet, despite this, their grip on London's contemporary landscape is so absolute, so firm, that they have effectively forged a new kind of dynasty, one built not on inheritance, but on ambition and shrewd calculation. Their combined fortune is a figure that demands attention, estimated to be in excess of a colossal £7 billion. Their story is not one of birthright. It is a tale of smart, strategic, and, as some might say, sometimes ruthless investing. A defining characteristic of the Livingstone brothers is their intense, almost obsessive privacy. They are famously private individuals who harbour a deep aversion to the spotlight. In an age of celebrity billionaires, they are ghosts. They didn't begin their careers in the world of high-stakes property development at all. Their origins are surprisingly humble. Ian was a qualified optometrist, focused on the world of eyewear, while his brother Richard worked as a chartered surveyor, a profession grounded in the details of land and building valuation. Their first truly significant move on the path to immense wealth involved the purchase of the David Clulow glasses chain. They acquired the business, and in a masterstroke of commercial acumen, they successfully flipped it, selling it on for a huge profit. That single transaction provided them with the crucial element they needed: cash. A war chest of capital that gave them the firepower to enter the notoriously competitive and often merciless world of London real estate. A move they made in the late 1980s with the creation of their company, London and Regional Properties. Their strategy, their fundamental game plan, was in retrospect both simple and touched by genius. They sought out the properties that others overlooked. They looked for unloved, underperforming, or outright failing assets and saw not what they were, but what they could become. They were not merely purchasing bricks and mortar. They were acquiring potential. Their talent lay in transforming these neglected properties into pure gold. One of their most famous projects involved the redevelopment of the old, iconic Marks and Spencer headquarters on Baker Street, a landmark project that showcased their ability to revitalize a major corporate space. They also took on the monumental challenge of Elizabeth House, a massive, complex project located near the bustling hub of Waterloo Station. But to think of their empire as being confined to London would be a mistake. It is a truly global machine, a sprawling network of properties located all over the world. Among their most ambitious undertakings is a wild visionary project in Panama known as Panama Pacifico. This is not just a development, it's the creation of an entire new city, constructed on the grounds of a former US Air Force base, a testament to the scale of their ambition. The Livingstone brothers occupy a unique space in this story. They are the bridge, the connection between the old guard of aristocratic landowners and the new wave of hyper-capitalists. They seem to operate with the quiet, patient, long-term thinking that characterizes old money, yet they employ the aggressive, fast-moving tactics of modern finance. They might not possess a historic family crest passed down through the ages, but they have meticulously built a real estate empire that can stand shoulder to shoulder with those of the ancient landowners. They are living proof that in the 21st century, a brilliantly executed deal can be just as mighty, just as powerful as a royal land grant from a bygone era. And in a recent twist to their story, reports that emerged in 2025 suggest that the brothers have relocated their base of operations to Monaco, a move many speculate was driven by tax considerations, placing them among a growing cohort of billionaires who are shifting their primary residence away from the United Kingdom. For our ninth entry, we must take a deliberate step back in time. We are leaving the world of modern finance and aggressive deal-making and immersing ourselves deep into the traditional, hallowed world of the British aristocracy. Here we find the Marquess of Northampton, a title currently held by Spencer Spenny Compton, the seventh Marquess. He is the very embodiment, the living picture of classic old money. This is a form of wealth that is inextricably tied to the land, to a noble title, and to a bloodline that can be traced back for hundreds of years. And while the family's direct land holdings within the City of London are not as vast as they once were, their history is quite literally written all over the city's map. There was a time when the Compton family owned enormous portions of the areas we now know as Clerkenwell and Canonbury. The evidence of this past dominion is not hidden away in dusty archives. It is visible to anyone who walks through the borough of Islington today. If you take a stroll through the neighbourhood, you will see the proof etched into the very fabric of the city in the form of street names. Compton Avenue, Northampton Square, Spencer Street, these are not random names. They are all deliberate, historical nods to the family's former power and ownership, echoes of a time when this land was theirs. The foundation of this great London fortune was laid in the 16th century through a pivotal marriage. The daughter of a fabulously wealthy Lord Mayor of London married into the Compton family, and as part of her dowry, she brought with her the massive estates her father had accumulated. This single event catapulted the Comptons into the highest echelons of the nobility. Today, the family's primary residences are no longer in the heart of the city. Their main homes are the grand sprawling country estates of Castle Ashby and Compton Winyates, magnificent properties that speak to a different kind of aristocratic life. Yet their historical mark on London remains absolutely undeniable. For centuries, as the small city of London began its inexorable expansion, the family leased out their vast landholdings. This strategy created a steady, reliable river of income that flowed into the family's coffers generation after generation. However, unlike some of the other great aristocratic families on our list, the Comptons' London property portfolio has significantly shrunk over the course of many years, primarily through a series of sales. The current Marquess, the seventh Marquess, presides over a fortune that is estimated to be in the region of £110 to £120 million. He has become known less for his involvement in property deals and more for his passion for art. His incredible art collection is world-renowned. In a particularly famous sale, he parted with a masterpiece, selling it to the prestigious Getty Museum for a price that set a new world record. He also found himself in a significant court battle over the ownership of a priceless hoard of Roman silver, a case which he ultimately won. The story of the Marquess of Northampton serves as a perfect and fascinating lesson in the fluid nature of old money fortunes. It demonstrates with stark clarity that even for the most powerful and historically significant families, the act of holding on to the world's most valuable real estate is a complex game, one that is played out over the course of centuries. And, as their story shows, it is a game that not everyone can continue to win indefinitely. If you have come to believe that the greatest family fortunes in Britain are built exclusively on the ownership of London land, our eighth family on the list is here to challenge that assumption entirely. The Swire family, a dynasty commanding a massive net worth that has been estimated to be as high as a staggering £17.2 billion, provides a powerful testament to the lasting power and influence of British global trade. Their incredible story is not about owning prime real estate in Mayfair or Belgravia. Instead, it is the story of a 200-year-old commercial empire, an enterprise whose reach stretches from the shores of England all the way to the bustling metropolis of Hong Kong. It all began in the early years of the 19th century. The foundation was laid when a man named John Swire opened a modest import-export business in the port city of Liverpool. But his sons, John Samuel and William Hudson Swire, harboured far grander ambitions. In the year 1866, they took an enormous risk, a gamble that would define the family's future for the next 2 centuries. They opened an office in Shanghai. In a move of cultural and commercial genius, they gave their company a Chinese name, Taiku. The name, which translates to great and ancient, was a brilliant piece of branding that resonated deeply in the local market. It was a move that paid off spectacularly. From this base, they launched the China Navigation Company, which quickly came to dominate the lucrative trade routes on the country's vast rivers. They also constructed a massive sugar refinery in Hong Kong, an industrial pillar that cemented their status as a cornerstone of British business in the Far East. Over the course of the next 150 years, the Swire Group diversified and expanded into an astonishing array of industries. The crown jewel of their extensive portfolio is arguably Cathay Pacific, the flag-carrying airline of Hong Kong. They were instrumental in its co-founding and, to this day, continue to hold a major controlling stake in the company. But their interests are far more widespread than just aviation. They also own and manage huge property developments across Asia, operate major Coca-Cola bottling plants, and maintain significant interests in global shipping and various industrial businesses. What truly elevates the Swires to the status of a genuine old money dynasty is the remarkable way in which they have managed to keep control of this vast and complex empire firmly within the family. Today, the business is still controlled by 6th-generation family members, most notably Barnaby and Merlin Swire. They conduct their business with a level of extreme discretion that is rare in the modern corporate world, preferring to let the performance of their massive, publicly recognized companies do the talking for them. And so, while their family name might not be as instantly recognizable to the average Londoner as that of the city's great landowners, their influence is just as deep, just as pervasive, and just as powerful. The Swire family stands as definitive proof that a colossal fortune built on the foundations of global trade can be every bit as mighty and enduring as one built on the soil of London itself. Occupying our number 7 spot is a dynasty whose very name feels as if it has been stitched into the commercial fabric of the British High Street itself. From the most luxurious and exclusive department stores to the most accessible budget fashion outlets, the Weston family has painstakingly built a retail empire that directly touches the lives of millions of shoppers every single day. With a family fortune that has been estimated at a massive £17.75 billion, they stand as a true powerhouse, a formidable example of what can be described as commercial old money. The family's epic story has humble beginnings, starting in the year 1882. It was then that a young, ambitious bread salesman by the name of George Weston decided to start his own bakery in Toronto, Canada. But it was his son, W. Garfield Weston, who possessed the vision and the drive to take the family business from a local success story to a global phenomenon. With relentless energy, he aggressively expanded the company into the United Kingdom, acquiring a portfolio of food businesses, most notably Allied Bakeries, a move that would become a cornerstone of their British operations. The family's astronomical wealth was built upon a brilliantly executed 2-part strategy, a dual focus on 2 distinct but complementary sectors, food and fashion. In the United Kingdom, their most famous and visible brand is undoubtedly the fashion giant Primark. This behemoth of budget retail is owned by the Westons through their publicly listed conglomerate Associated British Foods. Yet at the same time, they also own the legendary luxury food store Fortnum and Mason, a brand so prestigious it is known as the Queen's Grocer. Their portfolio also includes other iconic brands like Twinings Tea and Ryvita Crisp Bread. This approach allows them to cleverly cover the entire spectrum of the consumer market, from affordable, fast fashion clothing to the most luxurious and expensive goods available. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Atlantic, their Canadian arm maintains control over one of Canada's largest and most successful supermarket chains. Now well into its fourth generation of leadership, the family continues to hold key decision-making roles within their vast network of companies. They are known for being intensely private, a trait that stands in stark contrast to the very public nature of the companies they own and operate. They have demonstrated remarkable skill in keeping control of their huge and incredibly complicated web of businesses firmly within the family's grasp. This is achieved through a sophisticated holding company structure, a classic strategy designed to protect the core fortune and ensure its longevity for many generations to come. The Westons are far more than just another rich family. They are a global retail dynasty whose strategic choices and business decisions directly affect what millions of us choose to buy, to eat, and to wear every single day of our lives. We now arrive in a part of London that feels less like a public neighbourhood and more like a private kingdom, a domain owned almost in its entirety by a single family, the Portmans. If you have ever had the pleasure of walking through the elegant district of Marylebone with its chic independent shops and its rows of beautiful, perfectly preserved Georgian buildings, you have been walking on the Portman estate. This single dynasty owns a vast, unbroken 110-acre tract of prime central London, a hugely valuable piece of real estate neatly tucked between the commercial thoroughfare of Oxford Street and the green expanse of Regent's Park. The family's deep-rooted London story began in a surprisingly quiet fashion, way back in the year 1532. It was then that Sir William Portman, a high-ranking and influential judge, made a prescient purchase. He acquired a stretch of land described at the time as being mostly farmland and fields, located far outside the official walls of the City of London. For the next 200 years, it remained just that, rural land on the outskirts of a growing city. The family's fortune, however, was set to explode in the middle of the 18th century. It was then that Henry William Portman astutely observed that the City of London was rapidly expanding westward. Seizing the opportunity, he began the systematic development of the estate, laying out the elegant streets and garden squares that we can still see and appreciate today, including the famous Portman Square. It was a move of pure, unadulterated genius. Crucially, the Portmans did not simply sell off the land for a quick profit. Instead, they adopted the long-term strategy of leasing it. This decision created a steady, reliable, and ever-increasing flow of cash that has continued to pour into the family's accounts for centuries. They also maintained exceptionally tight control over the architectural standards of the development, ensuring that the area would always be characterized by an air of elegance and exclusivity. The Portman estate became the perfect textbook model for how a forward-thinking aristocratic family could successfully transform a simple piece of countryside into a perpetual, non-stop money-making machine. Today, the family, which is led by the 10th Viscount Portman, presides over a formidable property empire with a value estimated to be around a staggering £2 billion. The entire estate is managed not directly by the family day to day, but by a team of dedicated professionals who operate under the direction of a series of family trusts. This is a classic old money strategy, a legal and financial structure meticulously designed to protect the vast wealth from being squandered or diluted by a single, irresponsible generation. The current Viscount himself lives a life far removed from the high-stakes London property game, preferring a quiet existence as a farmer. And yet, despite this personal distance, his family's control over this significant slice of London remains absolute and total. They are the invisible landlords to thousands of residents and businesses, their immense power hidden in plain sight, embedded in the very foundations of one of London's most beautiful neighbourhoods. Located just next door to the Portman's domain is another family that owns a similarly huge and valuable piece of Marylebone, the Howard de Walden family. They are, without question, one of the most powerful, and yet simultaneously one of the least known of London's great aristocratic landowning dynasties. Their magnificent 92-acre estate, known as the Howard de Walden estate, encompasses the world-famous Harley Street, a name that has become globally synonymous with the finest private medical clinics and specialists. The family's immense fortune, which is currently estimated to be worth in excess of a remarkable £4 billion, has its origins in the 18th century. The land itself was first developed by the Harley family, and it subsequently passed through marriage into the hands of the Dukes of Portland. But the pivotal moment in the estate's history occurred in the year 1879. It was then that the entire estate was inherited by the widow of the sixth Lord Howard de Walden. From that moment forward, it has remained firmly within the control of the Howard de Walden family, passed down through successive generations. Much like the other great estates on our list, the Howard de Walden family has always played the long game. Their strategy has been consistently focused on careful, patient, and long-term development. They are custodians as much as they are owners. A prime example of their visionary approach can be seen in their management of Marylebone High Street during the 20th century. They took what was a tired, run-down area and meticulously transformed it into one of London's most desirable and fashionable shopping streets. They achieved this not by chasing the highest rents from big chain stores, but by carefully curating a mix of independent, high-quality and unique shops. This patient and thoughtful strategy proved to be hugely successful, and it has since become a celebrated model for urban regeneration projects around the world. The family is now led by the 10th Baroness Howard de Walden and her children, and they continue to operate with an incredible, almost legendary level of discretion. The day-to-day management of the vast estate is handled by a professional team whose primary objective is to preserve and enhance its value for the benefit of the dozens of family members who are its beneficiaries. They are the quiet, unassuming guardians of one of London's most distinctive, charming, and commercially successful neighbourhoods. The Howard de Walden family stands as a powerful example, proving that sometimes the quietest and most private families possess the tightest and most enduring grip on the City of London. As we move further up our list, we arrive at a family whose name is intrinsically linked with pure, unadulterated luxury and high-end fashion. The Cadogan family, a dynasty led by the Earl of Cadogan. If the Grosvenor family can be said to own Mayfair, then it is the Cadogans who are the undisputed kings of Chelsea and Knightsbridge. Their spectacular 93-acre estate represents one of the most valuable private landholdings anywhere on the planet, and it is the foundation of a family fortune estimated to be worth more than £6 billion. In a story that echoes that of many of London's other great families, the Cadogan fortune was originally sparked by a single, strategically brilliant marriage. The year was 1717. Sir Hans Sloane, a celebrated physician and passionate collector, whose vast trove of artifacts would later form the very beginning of the British Museum, had a daughter named Elizabeth. She was married to Charles Cadogan, who at the time was the second Baron Cadogan. This union brought a crucial piece of property into the Cadogan family's possession, the Manor of Chelsea. At that time, Chelsea was little more than a quiet village, situated well outside the main hustle and bustle of London. However, as London began its dramatic, explosive boom in the 19th century, that once quiet village land transformed into a veritable gold mine. The family developed their new asset with immense care and foresight, creating the elegant garden squares and grand residential streets that continue to define the character of Chelsea to this day. The names Sloane Street and Cadogan Square, which are central to the area, are not mere coincidences. They are living, breathing proof of the family's foundational vision and enduring legacy. The Cadogans didn't just construct buildings. They meticulously built a world-class neighborhood, carefully controlling every aspect of its development to ensure it would always maintain its prestige and, consequently, its sky-high property values. Today, the Cadogan estate continues this long-standing tradition of careful stewardship and enhancement. It is now managed by the current Earl's son, Edward, who holds the title Viscount Chelsea. He is the driving force behind the ongoing multi-million-pound redevelopment of Sloane Street, a project designed to solidify its position as a premier global destination for luxury shopping. The family's holdings are extensive, including high-end retail properties, exclusive residential homes, and even significant cultural venues such as the renowned Saatchi Gallery and the prestigious Cadogan Hall. The family itself, in keeping with aristocratic tradition, remains firmly out of the public spotlight. The late 8th Earl famously described himself not as a property tycoon, but simply as a countryman. Their immense wealth is carefully shielded within a complex web of trusts, a legal structure designed to ensure that the fortune remains intact and secure for many generations to come. The Cadogans are the quiet architects and enduring rulers of one of London's most famous and valuable districts, a silent but absolute power. Our next family is not old money in the traditional aristocratic landowning sense of the term. They do not hold ancient titles or hereditary estates. But their wealth and their influence within the City of London are so immense, so profound, that they simply cannot be ignored in any serious discussion of power in the city. The Hinduja family, led by the patriarch Gopi Hinduja, consistently finds itself at or near the very top of the list of the wealthiest families in the entire United Kingdom. Their fortune is a truly staggering sum, estimated to be over £35 billion. Their story did not begin in London, but over a century ago in India. However, their sprawling global conglomerate, the formidable Hinduja Group, has now established its central headquarters in London. This vast and diversified empire has interests in almost every major sector of the global economy, including oil and gas, banking and finance, information technology, and media. The group employs a global workforce of over 200,000 people. Their physical presence in London is not just in boardrooms, it is stamped directly onto the city's landscape through their ownership of landmark properties. The most magnificent of these is the Raffles London Hotel, a breathtakingly luxurious establishment located within the historic Old War Office building in Whitehall, a stone's throw from the seat of British government. So, while families like the Grosvenors and the Cadogans own vast historic chunks of the city passed down through generations, the Hindujas represent an entirely different, yet equally potent form of power. Theirs is the power of global financial might, a colossal force that has deliberately chosen London to be its centre of gravity. They operate at the very highest levels of international finance and industry, and the investment decisions they make from their London headquarters have a significant and tangible impact on the entire British economy. The family's remarkable journey from their origins as a trading business in Mumbai to their current position at the absolute pinnacle of the UK rich list serves as a powerful testament to their incredible business skill and relentless ambition. Their story demonstrates a crucial evolution in the nature of power in modern London. It shows that today's power map is not defined solely by ancient land deeds and hereditary titles, but also by the vast, liquid, and globally mobile fortunes of titans of industry who have chosen to make this historic city their home. Ranked just behind the Hindujas in the Wealth League tables and serving as another prime example of modern-day moguls who have fundamentally reshaped London are the brothers David and Simon Reuben. Born in Mumbai and raised in the United Kingdom, these two brothers have, through decades of hard work and incredibly savvy dealings, built a colossal fortune that is estimated to be worth nearly £25 billion. Their wealth has been amassed primarily through astute investments in two key sectors, property and technology. The story of the Reuben brothers is a genuine and inspiring rags-to-riches tale. They did not begin their careers with family money or connections. They started out in business, with humble ventures, trading in carpets and dealing in scrap metal. Their first major breakthrough came when they made a substantial fortune in the notoriously tough and opaque Russian metals market during the 1990s. They then took the proceeds from this venture and strategically reinvested that capital heavily into UK property, with a particular and intense focus on the London market. Their firm, Reuben Brothers, now boasts a property portfolio that is both vast in its scale and brilliant in its strategic composition. They own an absolutely incredible collection of London properties, a diverse portfolio that includes luxury hotels, state-of-the-art office buildings, and prime retail spaces. Their extensive holdings include iconic landmarks such as the In-N-Out Club on Piccadilly, the prominent Millbank Tower, and a significant and growing presence in the ultra-exclusive neighbourhood of Mayfair. They have earned a reputation for their uncanny ability to see value and potential where other investors do not, and for their skill in executing massive, complex and transformative development projects. The Reubens, in a manner very similar to the Livingstone brothers we met earlier, represent the newer face of property power in the City of London. They operate not with the slow, custodial pace of the old aristocracy, but with a sharp, decisive and entrepreneurial edge. In a relatively short period of time, they have amassed a property portfolio that rivals those of the great historic estates in its sheer monetary value, if not in its age. Their influence on London's ever-changing skyline and its dynamic property market is simply enormous, establishing them as two of the most powerful, if famously private figures operating in the city today. And now we have finally reached the summit of our list. We have arrived at the number one spot, the family whose very name has become the ultimate definition of wealth, land and power in London. The Grosvenor family, led by the Duke of Westminster. To truly begin to grasp the scale and nature of the Grosvenor fortune, you need to imagine London as a real-life monopoly board. On this board, the Grosvenors do not just own a few expensive properties, they own the most coveted squares for real. They own Mayfair and they own Park Lane. With a family fortune estimated to be around £9.8 billion, they are, without any doubt, the ultimate London landlords. Their unparalleled empire is built upon a foundation of 300 acres, of what is arguably the most expensive real estate on the entire planet. This is divided into 100 acres in the globally recognized district of Mayfair, and another 200 acres in the equally prestigious neighbourhood of Belgravia. This is not simply a collection of properties, it is a veritable private kingdom, a realm of glittering townhouses, world-class five-star hotels, and the most exclusive designer shops. And the source of this almost unbelievable wealth can be traced back to one single, perfect marriage that took place over 340 years ago. In the year 1677, a landowner by the name of Sir Thomas Grosvenor married a 12-year-old heiress named Mary Davies. Her dowry did not consist of money or jewels. It was something far more valuable in the long run. It was a swampy, marshy patch of land situated to the west of what was then the City of London. At the time of the marriage, this land was considered undesirable, consisting mostly of fields, marshes and farmland. But as London grew and expanded westward, that land became a gold mine. Starting in the 1720s, the family began the careful, planned development of Mayfair. Then, in the 1820s, they constructed the grand, iconic, white stucco houses that define the landscape of Belgravia. The true genius of the family's strategy was their business model. They rarely, if ever, sold the freehold of the land. Instead, they leased it for long periods. This simple but brilliant decision meant that they always retained ultimate ownership of the ground itself. And crucially, when the long leases eventually came to an end, the properties, which by then had become infinitely more valuable, reverted back to the family's control. This model created a perpetual fountain of wealth that has flowed uninterrupted for centuries. Today, this immense fortune is not managed by the Duke himself, but by the Grosvenor Group, a sophisticated global property company. However, the core assets, the priceless land in Mayfair and Belgravia, are locked away securely in a series of highly complex family trusts. This legal fortress was meticulously constructed to ensure that the core estate can never be broken up, sold off, or squandered by any single individual. The current head of the family is Hugh Grosvenor, the 7th Duke of Westminster, who inherited the title and the colossal fortune in 2016 at the young age of just 25. He is a godfather to Prince George, the future king, yet he maintains a remarkably low profile, especially given his immense wealth and his close royal connections. The Grosvenor family is the ultimate quintessential example of old money. Their wealth is not an abstract concept represented by numbers on a spreadsheet. It is solid ground. It is prime real estate. It is built into the very foundations of London itself. They are the quiet, largely unseen rulers of the world's most luxurious and desirable neighborhoods, a dynasty whose incredible power was sealed with a marriage contract centuries ago and remains utterly unbreakable to this day. If you found this deep dive into the hidden world of immense wealth and powerful, secretive dynasties to be a fascinating journey, then please make sure to subscribe to our channel and, very importantly, hit the notification bell. We regularly explore the lives of the super-rich, the stories behind their fortunes, and the incredible history that made them who they are today. We would also love to hear from you, so please let us know in the comments section below. Which of these 10 powerful families you found to be the most surprising or the most interesting?